Good morning, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 28th of August. It is Thursday. We do just have 8 games basically to look at. Smaller slates. A lot of times I don't get a video out on Thursdays, but season's winding down, kind of focusing on some of the matchups more and more. And I kind of like some of the pitchers. So I do think there's some angles that we can attack. I don't believe there's any weather to worry about here. Yeah, it does not look like it. Great pitching environment in San Francisco today, it looks like, which is generally the case. Solid hitting weather in Baltimore, which not the greatest since it's Garrett Crochet going for Boston. Decent hitting weather in St. Louis, despite the ballpark not favoring hitting. And then Philadelphia. Interesting hitting weather there in Philly. That might be an intriguing spot to target. Chicago, winds blowing out for the Yankees visiting. That's very interesting as well. Anyways, this is a first look at pitching. And I will be looking at DraftKings, as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I will cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now let's just jump into this 5-gamer. Boston-Baltimore, the aforementioned Garrett Crochet. $12K is the price tag. Absolutely elite versus Baltimore the first time we faced him. He's been better from a fantasy point perspective on the road, where he's at today. Stronger K numbers as well on the road. Fewer home runs allowed, etc. Just phenomenal. Best way to attack Baltimore, it was with a left-handed pitcher, and that's what we get in this spot. No need to overthink it. 12K is a lot, I get it, but still, I think we can make it work. Kid Povich on the other side, I'm interested a little bit because it is just a 5-gamer. He's shown a bunch of K ability, but he tends to hit this wall that you don't expect. Like, he just starts out cruising, and then all of a sudden things kind of fall apart. He has made 2 starts against Boston, averaging decent fantasy points per start. 17, just 1 run allowed in 5 innings. Pretty solid one. They got blown out. No real chance at a W. And then 15.5. Not the greatest, but 8 Ks in 4 1/3. I think there's enough upside. 14 Ks in 9 1/3 innings against Boston this season. Probably pretty decent upside. Obviously, I did mention the weather's definitely geared towards hitting in that game. But I do think Povich is interesting enough for a 5-game slate for us to play. Next game, Arizona and Milwaukee. Jose Quintana, a guy that we just don't play on large slates. We are on a 5-gamer, so maybe he's in play. He just doesn't offer a ton of K upside. He has to just go pretty clean across, 5 or 6 innings in order to get there. And that doesn't happen all that often. With that said, he's just one of those guys that rarely gets blown up. Problem is he only allowed 2 hits in this last start. 2 solo home runs. And put up 9.6 fantasy points. Even if he had gotten the W, that's 13.6 fantasy points. Not overly exciting. 1 run here, 16.6. So the ceiling is definitely capped. But like I mentioned, since it's a 5-game slate, I don't think we're losing out on opportunity cost by using him. And I think there's just enough upside that he could end up SP2 on this slate, given the slate size. The other side, Kismet has been really solid working as a longman / starter. He followed an opener in this one, which helped him get the W. I'm not sure if we'll suddenly get news that they're opening with anybody, but I do think that Arizona's bullpen has been used a lot recently. So I think they're going to try to, get some extension out of him and maybe approach 90 pitches. It's just Milwaukee, and they've been a pesky and dangerous offense. I shouldn't even say that because I think they're like second or third in baseball in runs scored. Um, so I just don't think we can use Kismet on this slate. Colorado, Houston, Jason Alexander, somebody we're going to use. Had a pretty solid stretch, 27, 21, 19. Fell back down here, but that's just because he didn't have many strikeouts. And he allowed a few too many base runners, but he only allowed 2 runs. Obviously, it's an elite matchup. We've been picking on Colorado. We will continue to pick on Colorado. He has struggled in Houston. Well, actually, home numbers. He hasn't pitched the entire season with Houston, so some of that might be skewed, and we'd have to dig into the actual breakdown. But he's somebody I want to utilize. We're going to take on Colorado whenever possible. Kyle Freeland on the other side, just not somebody I'm going to use. More home runs allowed on the road, 12 and 73 innings. Houston, very right-hand heavy. I will pass on Kyle Freeland. Pittsburgh, St. Louis. I talked about how the hitting environment is very positive for the bats. The pitching environment might be positive for the bats as well. Miles Mikolas, somebody I'm not using. I don't care that it's Pittsburgh. I struggled against him the one time he faced him. He has been really solid at home from a real-life pitching standpoint. Fantasy points just aren't there. Braxton Ashcraft, his last time out was against Colorado, so take it for what it's worth, but really strong. The problem is his last 2 times he's gone 5 innings, he's had to do it in 61 and 65 pitches. So he's not overly stretched out, but maybe they're planning on stretching him out a little bit because Bubba Chandler followed Mlodzinski yesterday, and Chandler's the one that followed him here after this 5 innings in his last appearance. So maybe they do stretch him out to 80 pitches. I'm interested a little bit, to be honest. These recent trends of at least these 2 starts, very interesting. And I think, there are definitely some outs in the St. Louis lineup. Not many strikeouts, unfortunately, but I do think it's possible. And he's been really solid on the road so far. So I actually think Ashcraft is somebody that I'm going to utilize on this slate, as gross as it feels for me. Chicago, San Francisco, last game on the slate. Best overall pitching matchup on the slate. Best ballpark to target pitching in. Just everything kind of lining up. Logan Webb. We know how good he is when pitching at home. His road numbers have actually been decent for him this season as well. Nice to see. But we're just always for sure targeting Logan Webb when he's pitching in this ballpark at home. His K numbers have actually been good at home, which is a little different than usual because this ballpark's so big. Pitching has generally pitched more towards contact to take advantage of that. 1 runner fewer allowed in 4 out of his last 5 starts. Had a little rough stretch there, but has definitely straightened it out. 3 out of his last 5 have come at home. His one bad one came against San Diego at home. It is what it is, but over his last 5 starts, he does have 2 double-digit strikeout performances. We know the Cubs lineup obviously can be dangerous, but still, I will take Webb in this ballpark. Now, I will also preface everything that San Francisco does play better for hitters during the day than it does at night. With that said, it's still the best pitching ballpark for us on this slate. The other side, Imanaga. I like left-handed pitching in San Francisco. They're one of the worst teams from a WRC plus, etc. standpoint against left-handed pitching on the season. And Imanaga, just 19 fantasy points last time out, but 22 plus in 4 straight prior to that, and 6 of 7. So coming in, very strong trends. Somebody that I'm completely fine being somewhat, being pretty heavy on, to be honest. So there's that slate, and we'll take a quick glance at this 3-gamer. This one's a little more interesting because, to me, there's no slam dunk pitching option for us. If I had to guess, Will Warren ends up the highest owned, or Clay Holmes. Holmes had his best start since June 7th, last time out from a fantasy point perspective. Definitely somebody I point out all the time now about the wall that, a middle 30-year-old long-time relief pitcher making a conversion to a starting pitcher is going to hit as the innings progress, and that's definitely been the case. Given that it's 3-game slate, though, I think we have to play Holmes in our MME pool. There's just a strong route that like 18, 19 fantasy points could be the highest scoring pitcher on this particular slate. And it actually could be the highest scoring pitcher by like 5 or 6 points, to be honest. I like Aaron Nola. I like the way he looked last time out. 2 home runs, 2 earned. But he is somebody that I think kind of down the stretch shows up. He struggled before going on the IL, long IL stint, came back and struggled, but then bounced back against the same team that knocked him around in his first start back, which says a lot for him kind of turning it around. So I do like him. It's just the weather in Philly's right for hitting. Atlanta's a dangerous offense. Will Warren, the White Sox, we haven't really been picking on them or be successful picking on the White Sox recently with pitching. Warren has struggled on the road quite a bit, so it's not a slam dunk spot by any means, but the K's are there. And I think he has what it takes to be the highest scoring pitcher on this slate. It's a weak enough slate that I think he can get it done. Davis Martin, back-to-back 19 fantasy point performances, but do I really want to take him against the Yankees? Not really. Multiple walks in 6 of his last 7 starts. Not a huge K guy. Can allow some home runs. I think I'm just going to pass. Mazer, not somebody I'm interested in against a hotter Mets offense. Just doesn't do it for me. And Cal Quantrill against Philly does not sound interesting. I mean, his reverse splits intrigued me, and then I realized that he's been lit up by the Phillies. So I'm going to dig into some of those matchups a little bit more because he's been such a reverse splits guy at the major league level that I would think he'd have a little bit more success against Philadelphia. But maybe there's something I'm missing off the top of my head. So I will want to look into that this afternoon to get an idea. But as of right now, like I really only want to play the top 3 pitchers on this slate. So, but there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And I also will drop a link to our merch store in the description. Check out some of the offerings. Check out my sweatshirt, or my design, I guess, on different things. Let me know what you're thinking about getting. These Jesus sweatshirts are really awesome as well. That's for our domination station. Very cool design. I think I'm going to have to get myself one of them, to be honest. But anyways, as always, best of luck, everybody.